So hi again, everyone. It's Becky Reed here on Joy's team, and we want to welcome another successful preschool owner. Today on our call, we have Kristen Lucas Smith, and her online preschool is called La Casa Bilingual Preschool. It took her about 6 months to get it up and going, and she now has 4 classes with 26 students worldwide. She's international now. So welcome to the call, Kristen.
Thank you so much for having me, Becky.
You're so welcome. So let's start out by just first, how did you hear about even starting an online preschool?
Well, I have to say that just scrolling through social media was the way that, Joy just won my heart. Hearing her story, it really just captivated me and brought confirmation, because just a week prior to seeing her ad, I actually prayed, because I was sitting on the floor with my 1-year-old son thinking about preschool, thinking about, well, what's going to happen? Am I going to have to go to work and have to provide for my son that I waited 12 years to have? Or will I be able to stay at home with him? And so I prayed and said, God, let me know, give me some direction of where I'm supposed to be heading. So it was my little private conversation I had with him. And then boom, her ad popped up, and it was like a perfect marriage.
Awesome. That's awesome. I've heard people say, like, somehow
Yes.
this message that I needed right when I needed it.
Most
So it's
definitely.
awesome. So you were on social media, you saw one of her ads, and what did you do from there?
So I scoped her out because I am a college professor and I have background in research. I started to do research on her, and I looked at her website. I looked at her personal page. I even looked at the 1-hour instructional video that she had posted somewhere on her website. And I studied it for 3 days straight. I just kept hitting replay because I wanted to know all the fundamentals of what she was offering to people to help them with their preschool. And so I got all the information, and I said to myself, okay, I know how much it's going to cost to invest, but I don't have it right now. But at least I know what are the proper steps to move forward.
Right. Okay. I love it. So you did your research, and after watching and studying, what was your first step to going forward?
So my very first step was being able to connect with her Preschool All-Stars page. After I did that, it became very easy for me to have access to her, which I thought was really, really cool, that she would do these lives and then her hear my name, like, hey, Kristen, how are you? Welcome. It just was such a beautiful experience to know that I had easy access to getting the information. And the challenge that came about was a 30-day challenge of starting your preschool. And so before I even started the challenge, I went on a 21-day fast, or before I even told my husband about it, because I wanted to make sure that this was the right thing that I needed to do for myself and my son. And so on the 20th day, not the 21st day, but the 20th day, my husband came to me and he said, you know what? I think we're supposed to be having multiple streams of income. We're supposed to be starting businesses. And I said, oh my gosh, guess what I have found? I want to start a preschool. And he was like, go for it. So
awesome. So he'd been prepared for you to be able to talk to him. That's awesome. So you did the challenge and was in All Stars. And what else helped you to get going?
Yes. So after I did the 30-day challenge, I started to look and see exactly what I was going to do locally, because here in California, there's regulations, there's inspections, there's making sure you get your house in order. And so this room I had dedicated way before we moved in, that this was going to be our preschool classroom. And come to find out, when I was going through the logistics of the DNS and all of that, my house was actually a daycare before. So that's the reason why my backyard is already set up for a daycare, a play area, everything came with the house. So as I was going through the whole process locally, getting my references, getting my training, getting all of the logistics together for my LLC, I started to see that there were roadblocks that were coming. And through those roadblocks, that's when COVID hit. And so I started on the online journey with Joy. And so I ended up putting that on the back burner, the local preschool. And then I started to go with her 7-day, I'm sorry, I believe it was 14-day online preschool challenge. And as I went on to that challenge, within the first month after doing that preschool challenge, I was able to launch my business. So it was just a wonderful, seamless, because I already teach online. I've been teaching for about 8 years for a college online.
Okay.
This is what I do. I teach online. So I'm so used to being in front of the camera, so used to teaching, having my lesson plans in order. So to be able to teach college students and now preschoolers, it's like the best of both worlds. They're the groups that want to learn, you know.
True. Yeah, you're right.
I
Beginning
really
and
enjoy
the end.
the beginning
Yeah.
and the end, most definitely. So
you were a professor online for 8 years, you said, huh?
yes,
Right?
and I still am.
And you
I
still
teach.
are.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so did you get Preschool in the Box or do any of those other things? Were those helpful at all, or just do the challenge?
Yeah, so once I finished the challenge, I ended up purchasing the Preschool in the Box because I felt like I needed that curriculum, that structure, the vision of what my business was supposed to be looking like. I did order the book when I was in my fasting mode to kind of read the book.
Yes.
And so looking at your testimony, looking at so many testimonies really encouraged me to say, well, if these other moms are doing it and they're having success, like, why not me? Why? You know, I'm a person of color and I didn't see myself in that book. I didn't see a success story for me. So I was like, I'm going to be a trailblazer and I'm going to be the first African-American woman to start my own preschool online.
I can definitely tell you that it's not going to be that way in the online All Stars. You are definitely represented.
Awesome.
And it's a beautiful, amazing thing. Like Joyce says, she had no idea the influence that this other group of people that she never thought.
That's right.
How many would be just clinging for this, and it's just awesome. It's so awesome. Okay, so what's your like favorite part of Preschool in the Box? What in Preschool Box was the thing that helped you the most?
Yeah, I would have to say the startup book. Everything was so step by step. And I was able to write things out. I'm a very strategic kind of person. I like to have a plan, a vision. And so for her to put in there topics that I really needed that were practical to start my business, like, what is your name? How many students do you want? How much money do you want to make? Like all of these things, I was like, okay, this is very practical. And it was great for me to actually see the vision. And I still have that book to this day. And I look at it and I say, look at where I started, how beautiful this is. So I just love how she walks through step by step in the Preschool in the Box to make it reality.
Awesome. Yes. And I think it's something I've noticed in her too, is this beautiful ability to like know how to get you from here to here in a seamless way, just like knows this is the next thing you're going to need to know. So we better figure this out before you get there, you know?
That's right.
And that's how that 14-day online challenge was like. Watching how she laid it on, like, this is amazing. Like, you know, of course you need to know that first before you can do this. But most people like start at the other end where, you know, you actually engage with people and don't think, well, before that, I got to have all these things ready. And so I think that,
and she would mention about the deviation, like, don't try to deviate against what I'm saying. I promise you, if you just follow these steps to a T.
And I will attest to that. There's many times I deviated because I didn't have as much access to her as you guys have had from the beginning. I just kind of had to wing it for many years. And anytime I was like, thought I would do it differently, and it didn't work out as well. So I learned many times. Okay. Well, let's start with, like, you know, were there any things that kind of discouraged you when you were starting your preschool? Any doubts that started creeping in or anything as you got going?
I would honestly say that I had a really good support system around me. I think Joy being number one. I didn't really feel discouraged too much. I did see challenges, but they didn't discourage me. Like, when it came to the local preschool and seeing the laws and regulations of the Californian, I started to see that there's a lot of red tape, but it didn't deter me for what I was supposed to be doing. So I would say just having that support system really kept me grounded, that I had people that believed in me, and I never wanted to stop. I was like, I'm going to do this. Like, it's going to happen. Like,
no matter what, we'll find a way, right? So kind of along that line, like, is there something that you like to say to yourself, a mantra or anything like that, that keeps you like in that positive mindset and not letting those discouragements have any hold on you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think more than anything, I just believe that when God speaks to us, like he already has a plan for us. So I think more than anything is, God, I trust you. Like, I trust whatever's going through. I'm going to continue to just have faith and know that I'm supposed to be doing this. So
I love that. Just trust, right? God, I trust you.
trust the process. If you just keep on going through.
That is exactly where I'm living my life right now. So that's awesome. I love it. Okay, so why don't you tell us kind of maybe your experience with the tech side of doing an online. So you've had lots of experience of doing online. Was there any part of doing it with preschoolers that maybe was a struggle or something you kind of had to work through or different?
Well, I had some bumps along the road when I very first started my summer program last summer. I started to realize that I was starting to record my videos and then give them to the parents to show to the parents. And I realized that's a lot of work, because I felt like I was on, I felt like when the record button was hitting, that if I messed up, then I had no way of fixing it, like, because I didn't have the editing software like I do now. So it was just so much stress, to be honest, that I couldn't just be myself. I felt like I was on a show or something. So I started to adjust the way my school plan was as I started in the fall. And instead of doing 30 minute, I ended up doing a 45-minute block that's live. So 20 minutes of it is teaching time, and 25 is called Bilingual Buddies. So Preschool Pals is actually Bilingual Buddies for my kids. And I found that really worked, to be able to offer that 4 days a week, and also 2 days a week and 3 days a week for other parents that would like that class. Yeah.
Awesome. So they just kind of, so they come in and they know they're just going to get to listen to you talk, and you don't have to 20 worry.
Minutes muted. Mute.
Everybody's muted. They're listening to you, showing them, teaching them, whatever. And then you didn't feel like it didn't matter if you made a mistake or whatever, because it wasn't going to be recorded.
That's right.
and then just go right into that interactive part.
Interaction.
Right after, and not have it to be separate or different.
Yes.
No, it does.
I had to do what works for me. And that to me, I felt like just having to have that extra step, it stressed me out. So.
No, I agree that the recording is a cool idea. And I did recording also, but then there's making the time to do it. That's sometimes doing it take after take if something messed up. So it takes longer. And then there's the whole editing, putting it, uploading it, all of that.
That's right. And uninterrupted time, trying to do it around my son's nap time or when he went to bed. And so I felt like I was adding more extra, effort when I just could just be myself with a live class and then
not have to do anything after.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think that's a great tip to take the stress out of that. That's awesome. Right. And there's many ways to do a lot of different things. And that's, like you said, you got to figure out what works best for you. And, Joy threw this idea out. She'd actually never done it. So
yes. She gave us some really good options.
It got us thinking. It had the elements of it, but I definitely think as we go along with these kinds of things that everybody that's really doing and living in the online preschool world will be able to share with everybody else that this is another way, and probably maybe a better way, that will take all, because lots of people also like, I don't know how to edit. That's another thing you have to buy, another thing you have to do, another thing you have to learn,
Most
definitely. So I love that. That's brilliant. You've solved all of our problems.
Yay!
Kristen, there you go. I love it. Awesome. Okay, so how about advertising? How do you become an international school? How did you get the word out? What was the struggles, and then how did you overcome it? Tell us about
So I
that.
would have to say I was a little just nervous in the beginning when Joy said, the challenge for this week is for you to put on your personal page that you're going to be starting a preschool online. And I just had these like fears. I don't know what it was of just rejection. Like, well, what if they don't like my preschool? What if nobody signs up? Like so many things were going through my mind. And honestly, just saying verbatim what she told us to say, which was like, put it out there. Like, if somebody had a bilingual preschool, would you go? You know, like, so just as simple as that.
Question.
Yeah. And just hearing comments or seeing comments say, absolutely, where do I sign up? Like, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, this is great. So it just totally took me out of my own element of saying, get out of the way, Kristen, you know, and allow the process to happen. You have to market yourself. And what I found is I'm not basically marketing La Casa Bilingual Preschool. I'm marketing myself. I'm marketing my brand of who I am and my energy and my expertise and all of this stuff. So I had to get past that. And to be international, it was organic. I am actually found, like, if you were to just put bilingual preschool online, La Casa Bilingual Preschool comes on Google right now. And that's how they were finding me in Ecuador, in Puerto Rico, just Mexico, like all of these places are looking for online opportunities for their preschoolers for Spanish. So that's
Spanish and then English too, because they're getting both, right?
They sure are.
Native Spanish speakers that want to be able to learn English and
that's my heart. That's my heart, Becky. Like, I actually really, this was like 5 years down the line, but I actually have a passion for Spanish speaking children to prepare them for kindergarten so that they don't walk into a classroom where their teacher is speaking only English because they've been in Spanish environment their whole 5 years worth of life, right? And so I have two families, one from Puerto Rico, the other one is in New York, and they are Spanish speaking. I'm sorry, Maryland. I apologize. It's Maryland where that Spanish speaking family is. And the parents actually want their child to know English prior to kindergarten so that they feel comfortable to go into a classroom setting, learning numbers in Spanish and colors in English and all of that good stuff. So that's my heart and my like heartbeat about this whole school, to be honest. I want more families to be able to know that there is an outlet to prepare their child for kindergarten in both languages.
That's awesome. That is awesome, because that confidence is so important for little ones to have. And that is definitely a hard thing for them to come into an environment of everyone speaking a language that they're just not used to speaking. You know,
I have a quick story. I was at the car dealership getting my car serviced, and the gentleman asked, what did I do? And I told him about my preschool, and he said, do you know, I wish I would have had you 30 years ago. He's like, I was that kid. He said, I was the kid placed in the ESL class because I didn't know the language and I couldn't understand math or history or science. He said, I wish I would have had your preschool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, that is awesome. That is amazing. Yeah. So awesome. It's great to connect to our passion and to find as we do things to go, this is what's fulfilling me. This is it. Sometimes we don't even know till we get into it and get going. You're like, this is what's speaking to me. So that's awesome. So what would you say is your favorite marketing strategy to this day of all the things that you've learned how to do? What do you think?
Well, the main thing that has been the most successful is doing lives, whether it's on Instagram Live or Facebook Live. What I've noticed is people will share my lives more than they'll share anything else, whether I put things on words or pictures. Those don't go. It's when I'm in front of the camera and I am sharing about the preschool that people are like, check out her preschool, you know, sharing it with your friends and family. So I'm actually going into a marketing season, April to June, and I'm looking forward to it. But I had a little anxiety because I know once I was telling my husband last night, I feel like I'm in the water waiting, right? In the water. And now I'm about to get on the surfboard and I'm about to ride that wave of marketing.
Are you ready for the wave, right?
And get ready for fall. So
yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. I love that. That is so very true. Okay, so let's go back. Let's talk about your education, your teaching background and stuff. So you said you're a college professor. What do you teach as a college professor?
Yes. So I have my bachelor's in Spanish literature from California State University, Los Angeles, and I have my master's in organizational leadership. And so my field of expertise is being able to teach English writing, college writing to English learners. And then also I have a Spanish component where we have a Spanish department where I'm teaching them English. Okay. So there's a writing component, making sure that they know how to write correctly. And then I have a Spanish component where I'm teaching them how to speak, read, and write in English. So I do that on a college level and I love it. I'm Afro-Latina. I'm from Honduras. So I was raised speaking Spanish, but now I'm able to use my language to help both the Spanish speaking community as well as those that would love to write. So.
Awesome. I love that. And so I had a question. It ran away from me. You've taught always online? Have you done in classroom or always been an online teacher?
My very first job was a teaching job for a charter school when I was 20 years old. So that's when I started. I did do some volunteer work in my home country in Honduras where I volunteered to teach English to kindergartners. So that was my first time even starting anything. Yeah. And so that was pretty cool. And then after I started teaching at the elementary level, then doors opened for me to teach for a private school, for Mary Hill Private School. For Spanish in my hometown. And then after that, I was doing charter school homeschooling. And so I was a vendor for a homeschooling network, which was amazing. And then now that's led me to teaching online through the college. And I love teaching online because I have students from all across the world that are in my class now. And it's been great to just meet different people from all different parts of the globe.
That's awesome. So you've kind of had it all over. You've gotten to be in classrooms and different age groups and stuff from kindergarten, elementary, college, and now online.
High school. Yep.
Awesome.
Everything.
So you just kind of had the gamut of all of it. And I love that you've been able to really help. I mean, you kind of just taken what you've already been doing and kind of focusing it into a preschool where, again, you're teaching Spanish, native Spanish speakers and English speakers to learn the opposite. And so that's awesome. So can you tell me maybe was there any struggles as you started doing online with preschoolers? So you've done it with college students. Was it different at all doing online with preschool teaching preschoolers? Any struggles with that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. So with preschoolers, I have to say Joy Anderson and her amazing expertise gave me some nuggets because I was connected to other moms who were preschool teachers, right? So I had no idea how to teach preschoolers, to be honest. Right. So I'm finding all of these resources, looking at different videos that are provided online, YouTube, stuff like that. And I ended up starting to kind of feel out my kids because they range from 3 to 5. So there's different levels, learning levels, different attention spans, right? So I created this this little tactic that I do. I have to get it. Hold on one second.
Okay, let's see it.
All right. So let's see if it's right. So what I have is right when the students come into class, I've taught them about ojos. And so this is my sign right here that in order for them to learn fully in my class is I say, ¿Dónde están tus ojos? Where are your eyes? And so they have to point to their eyes. And then I tell them right at the end, I say, okay, because guess what? Senora can't see if you're paying attention if she can't see your eyes. And so every single time they know they have to keep their eyes in the camera. So for 45 minutes, I have these kids looking for 45 minutes straight. So that's been my tactic of being able to keep their attention and keep them engaged with that small little thing that I learned just along the way.
That's awesome. And you're at the same time, you're still teaching them what your whole purpose of learning the Spanish word, the English word, and seeing them visually together. And then also getting them to like keep their eyes on you. And
most definitely.
So you can know what's going, if they're actually learning something. I love it. So creative.
So I have to show you this so that you can see. I have my friend Perrito El Paco. And so Paco comes and he joins us as well. And he only speaks Spanish. So little Paco, hola. He comes and he helps us out. So that captivates their attention as well.
Oh, absolutely. That is like one of the things that when I got Joy's curriculum 10 years ago, 10 years ago, and she had the little puppet part in there where they taught the life skills of the puppets. And at first I was like, that's weird. Why would you do that? That's so weird. Then we did it and they were like, oh my gosh, like they are like mesmerized looking at this puppet. That you could tell them to do anything with this puppet. They're like, whoa, there's a puppet. You know, I often would joke when I talk to people, like, and told parents about the puppets and life skills and stuff. I was like, this is like the greatest idea ever. And I should just walk around my house with a puppet. My kids would like listen to me and do what I say because
I do that with my son all the time.
It's a magical thing. So absolutely, if you aren't using a puppet in your in your online preschool, you're missing out. That is,
you sure are. You
really
magical
thing. Even in person, it's magical, but online, I can't imagine that would be huge. You know.
Yes. Now
that's your biggest thing is try to keep their attention, right?
And they actually are patient with one another because I'll do like a segment where they have to say their numbers in Spanish. And so I tell them to tell Paco, tell your numbers in Spanish. And then they're telling him. So it's not like they're telling me. So such a great way to get them to open up, especially if they're new to the class.
Yes. And kids love imagination. And that's why Sesame Street was so great and big. And, all these things, what lasted and forever is because they knew what they were doing. Kids loved the puppets and loved that animated pretend kind of thing. So that's awesome. That's such a great thing. Okay, so let's talk more a little bit about business. So you've been teaching and teaching for other institutions, but have you ever had any of your own business background or had ever done a business of your own before?
Yes, I did actually. I started a business in 2003. I started a business called Project Lucas, and Lucas is my maiden name.
Okay.
But I got this acronym, God gave it to me in regards to languages unifying community and success. And that was my business. And so basically it was a language training business that helped adults learn Spanish. Okay. And I got a curriculum that was set up for occupational Spanish. So I was going around my city and I was providing adult language services to employees of Fortune 500 companies like Wells Fargo, Big Valley Ford, UC Medical Davis Center, just training nurses and doctors and accountants and employees for dealerships on how to speak the language in their field. So they're not taking, like Rosetta Stone and learning about a green apple, right? Manzana verde. Like, how's that going to help you? No. Right. My curriculum was specifically based for the adult that's in their profession. And I got that inspiration from my mother, who worked as an ultrasound tech in East LA. 99% of her patients were Spanish speaking. She learned Spanish on her own so that she can connect with her patients. And so having an immigrant as my father from Honduras, not knowing the language, and then having my mother go one step beyond was the marriage of my business. And it was very lucrative until the recession hit. And then, it's still there, but it's just.
Right. Yeah. So, so you had started a business and kind of had, and knew how to kind of do the basics of things. Is there any part of starting the online preschool business that was a struggle for you at all, or
Not at
no,
all. Not
no.
at all. Having the reminder of what Joy gave me within my challenge of getting all the logistics, my LLC, getting my bank account, all of that stuff, it brought back to my remembrance. But it was super simple and easy once I was going through the steps to be able to get everything in place. So online is super, super easy to manage.
So do you feel like if you hadn't had like this step-by-step laid out for you, that you maybe would have struggled with some part of it? Or
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think there would have been some discouragement along the way.
Or we would have put things out of order, right?
Most definitely.
Start doing stuff like, wait a minute, I can't pay for this. It's coming out of my personal account. What am I supposed to do now? Right?
Right.
Awesome. Yeah. So I know, and it's kind of hard because I'm asking these questions about struggles, and a lot of them are like, no, not really, because I had all of this, right?
I'm telling you, Joy made it so easy. She made it so easy to be successful. And I think that's where the selling point of who her brand is, who she is, because she said, I already did the work. I already have the experience. Trust me. And when she said that, that's something that she delivered to all of us. So
yeah, absolutely. And that's these kinds of things of starting just that are, you may have not be hard for somebody to teach because they're kind of passionate with that, or maybe they like to be creative, and doing advertising is easy. And so that would not be hard. But all of us are in some area of getting going would be our weakness. There would be something that we're like, I have no idea how to do that. And if I can't do that, then I don't get to do all of these other things that I'm good at, because no one will be able to pay for it, or no one will ever see me. Someone else I was interviewing said, you could have the best product in the world, but if no one knows about it, it doesn't exist.
Right.
So if you have great ideas and you can't tell anybody about it, or you don't know how to finance it. So it's just really awesome to be able to have what she has for you to help with those weak things, so that they aren't a stumbling block. And so you can keep going with your dreams without having to, give up on those just because you didn't know how to do the one part. And so that's what I've noticed while talking to everybody. This has been really great. So like, no, not really, because I had Joy.
It's so true. Especially with Facebook ads. I was a little scared about Facebook ads, and she just made it so simple and easy. I had a $5 Facebook ad that I posted just for 5 days, just $5. And that's how I was able to get people from San Diego and Arizona to see my preschool. And I had no idea. I said, how did you find me? And they were like, Facebook. I was like, oh, how amazing. So
yeah. And she walked me through some Facebook ads. I'm like, I would have never found this part of Facebook. I had no idea it even existed. I had no idea at all. And so it's awesome that she's done that. She's been there, and she can show us all, so we don't have to struggle.
That's right.
Struggle through. It's awesome. Okay. So, what do you think is maybe one of your biggest screw ups that you're just like, oh, I totally messed that up, that you could share?
Ooh, biggest screw ups. I'd have to say not charging enough, to be honest.
That's a common one that people are talking about.
Not having the value. Undervaluing the gift of giving this language online. I had an opportunity to be able to, when I first started, having a certain rate, and I actually became in the negative. I'm just going to be honest, where I screwed this up. I gave free t-shirts to all of my students. And literally the summer camp that I charged all my parents paid for those t-shirts. So I didn't have any profit coming out.
So I'm teaching for free now.
I was definitely teaching for after the shipping, the cost, the printing of everything. I mean, I was grateful and thankful to just thank my parents for trusting me with their kids. But I said, oh, I'm never going to do that again. Like that was a lot of money.
Well,
and I had no
at least
idea.
there's a smarter way to do it, right? I mean,
Most
you can do
definitely.
t-shirts, but it's all rolled into, it's free, but it's,
Exactly. Well,
it's included somewhere else.
the next thing I decided, I got smart and did that whole $100 registration fee right when you start up. And so that paid for the shipping that I was really like paying out of my own pocket for, that now I'm able to, count it as a business expense through that. So I'm just grateful and thankful for learning along the way. But that was really like a screw up. Like I just wasted like so much of my resources.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you got to learn from those, right? So you don't have to do it again. Yes. So my thing is saying I have a low battery. So if you'll wait 1 second, I'm going to plug it in problem. So it doesn't die on this. I have to go out to get a charger. I'll be right back.
All right, sounds good.
All right. I had it plugged in yesterday, but I forgot about today. And I have like 5 interviews today, so.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Craziness. All right, let's get this plugged in so it won't cut us off. All right. Awesome. Well, okay, so the next question I have for you is looking back to before you, that moment when you're sitting there with your son, thinking, I got to send him to preschool soon and I'm going to have to go, send him away. And
pay for it, by the way, because I was thinking about that.
Pay for it, the expenses of it, and all of those logistics and wondering what you should do. And then this, going on this journey that you have of discovering about online preschool and being able to do that and to do all the good that you've done. What do how do you think that this experience that you've had so far blessed your family?
Well, there's peace of mind to know that our mortgage is paid for every single month, regardless of whatever happens with COVID. My husband works from home. He works for a nonprofit. So there was some type of security that I wanted to say, how can I contribute to the home financially and be at home and know that I can keep running my home and stay with my son. Like I said, praying for a child for 12 years. We've been married 15 years. The last thing I ever wanted to do was say, I want to go work for a 9-to-5 job and be away from my son. So the thing that really empowered me was saying, I have a choice. Like I have an opportunity to be able to be impactful and use my gift of teaching. And at the same time, be able to be 100% in as a mother. So that's what was really, important to me.
Awesome. I love that. It's so, so, so important. And that's awesome. I'm so glad you got to do this. And I'm so excited to see your growth and everything you're going to do. Is there anything else that you would like to, any bit of wisdom or tips or anything else you'd like to share with anyone else that's going to start this journey of online schools that you would like to share?
First thing is, I think letting joy believe in you before you can believe in yourself. There's times when you have these self-doubts, right? And you start to think and you count up the costs. But looking at this board that Joy helped us to, get together, literally, to me, it looks like $1 million, right? But when I actually did everything, it came up to $50. So just want you to know the process of preparing your passion, knowing that you may not have it all together, right? You may not have all the curriculum or all the expertise or all the time or any of that right now, but trusting that Joy believes in you and then you can believe in yourself as Joy believes in you. There's this thing of a relationship that you have with a mentor like her that can put you in a place of success. And so it honestly would say a lot of people that I've seen kind of go down this route of being a business owner, right? And maybe having a daycare or being a part of a preschool, it may be scary coming through in the beginning, but once you get in, just continue to go along every step of the way and just trust what she's saying, and you'll be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love that. Trust that she trusts you. You know, she believes in you.
That's right.
Yeah. And yeah, it's awesome. It's such a wonderful community. I'm so grateful that has so much support and help. And you see the amount of people that have been influenced and are able to be helped now is so much more than before, when she didn't have these things. I mean, there was a handful of us that, you know, went along and did it with no help, with just a little bit that she had for us. But the amount of the reach that she's having now and the amount of people that she's being able to help now is just amazing. And because of all these other things that are in place. So it's pretty awesome. Okay. So, where do you see this all going in another, like, let's say, what's your goals in the next year or two with your school?
Well, I do have some amazing parents from all across the country that are pushing me to go beyond this, actually, and create my own YouTube channel, because they say that I'm just captivating with my video. So awesome. I've been doing a case study pilot with my parents, and creating little 20-minute videos. I have an intro, outro, a little YouTube channel right now. And my goal is to be able to market that as a tool to help build my preschool in my live classes. And at the same time, give a resource for my kids that are like, where's Senora? I want to see her now. That they'll have that YouTube channel that they could subscribe to and see me at any time. So that's the biggest project.
That is amazing. And I also have to say, I love how you're like, I have a little pilot group. I'm testing it out. I love your research and the order. And you're like, I'm not just going to go do something. I'm going to see whether this is really worth my time. And I love that, because that's, I don't think people think about how the process that they could go to make sure that they're successful. And I think that's awesome that you're like, I'm going to do a little pilot here. And I'm like, I'm going to go find it. I love it. I think it's the greatest idea. It's easy for people to share.
Spanish with Senora is the name of the channel.
Spanish with Senora. I love it. Yes. I'm going to have to go find it.
So it'll be launching in June. So we're working on videos right now. Yes.
Yes, I love it.
Thank you so much.
That's some awesome ideas. Okay, so big dream, 5 years down the road. Where do you think you'll be?
Wow, that's amazing just to hear that. My big dream, I would honestly say, I love teaching, but I would love to be able to see me empower other teachers to do what I do. So having a team of bilingual women and even men that have a desire to make Spanish fun at the preschool level and get them ready for kindergarten. That's like my ultimate dream, to be able to leverage my time and impact more kids along the way in both English and Spanish. So I would love to have a team in the next 5 years that's just operating, and they've got classes and they're in different states and countries doing what I'm doing. And I say, get your board and let's do this. So
awesome. I love it. And because our world has just opened to remote jobs and education and so many things. And I know a lot of people have brought it up. You haven't brought it up, but a lot of them have brought up this worry about education changing back to going back to in person, and people still want this? And I just really feel like it's not going away. It may not look exactly the same, or you might have to have a special niche or a reason people do that, but there's so many people that have, a need for different things, and this modality everyone is much more comfortable with. And
now it's not as taboo. It's not as taboo.
No, it's not. I think it was interesting. I don't know why just right now I feel like I should share this with you. So I'm going to. And so I have actually, when I'm moving from my home that I've lived in for all my years and had my preschool and everything. And so I'm moving to Montana actually in like 3 weeks. And so I was lucky to find enough stuff that I could make a cute thing and to sit behind me because I'm like, everything's packed. What am I going to put behind me while I do this? But anyways, as I was going through some stuff and pulling out one last box that wasn't packed, I actually found the original Preschool All-Stars book that I'm in. I love it. And I remember the moment when Joy asked us what our 5-year goal was. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's like so far away. I had no idea. I think at this point, when she made this book, we probably, maybe we'd had our school for like 2 years or something like that. Not too long. And I'm almost 100% sure. I was going to look and see, what did I write? What did I say was my 5-year goal? But I'm almost certain that my 5-year goal was to have a building of my own. And to not be out of my house and to, to do that. And I exceeded those goals. Taught over 600 students and hired, I don't know, I think I had about 10 or 12 different women. There's no way I could have seen where we started in just a handful of little kids in an extra room in my house, to the amount of people and families and generations, all their children, the influence and impact that you can have is, you cannot even imagine. So I know you think that 5-year goal is big. I promise you, it probably won't be 5 years. Not with the way that you do things.
Wow.
And,
I'm excited about that.
I think your 5-year will be sooner, and 5 years you'll be somewhere you had no idea it was even possible. So
I'm so looking forward to that. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. So we have just a few more minutes because I've jabbered on too much, but do you have a struggle that you're going through right now that we could just talk for a little bit about? What are you struggling with?
To be honest, I'm struggling with the fact that of the unknown, right? Like when I started this preschool last September, I was gun-ho, like, yes, let's do this. I mean, I only have 2 more months with these beautiful kids. And then our school year is over. But I would love to know about you as you go from 1 year to the next year, and then you have that break, right? That there's something inside of me of like, how committed am I really? Like, what is this? I'm struggling with the fact that, like, is this really my life right now? Like, am I really like a preschool owner, like forever? Like,
right.
So I'm struggling with the fact that I have, like, my body is moving and it's doing these actions, but my mind is like, hold up, wait, what are you doing? And why are you doing this? What's going on? So I think there's this outer body experience.
It's your researcher inside of you is going, whoa, this is going way too fast. Because you take things you look at it, you process it, you figure it out, and then you move. And you're just moving without the thought behind it, right? What is your plan? Do you plan to do like a summer camp, or are you do you have anything in place for the next school year? Like, what's your plans right now?
Yes. So I'm trying to be sensitive to the seasons that we're in with COVID, right? So I'm actually having these dialogue conversations with my parents right now. And I have a summer camp that's already set up to market the school for the following fall, and for my returning students to be a part of that with me. But that's a 4-week session. I actually gave myself a month off from majority of June to prepare myself for both summer and for fall. So what I plan on doing is being able to access a Saturday morning class for my pandemic parents, is what I'm calling them. So
the ones who are still,
it's a part of my rejection. It's part of the rejection part of my mind is like, they're either aging out, they're, just turned 5, and they're not coming back, or they're going back to school. And that's a hard thing for me because I'm having this connection with these kids that are, I've never met them in person, but I have such a great relationship with them. So from the survey from my parents, they are saying, please have a Saturday morning just to connect with my kids, even if they're aged out or if they're in a school that they're going back to school. We want you in their lives. And so that is speaking volumes to me. But at the same time, I'm like, I do want to market this as a 1 year type of preschool. I don't see it like as a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year just yet. I still see myself marketing it to new parents that are stay-at-home moms, right? Not the moms that are at home because of COVID. You know, like I want the stay-at-home moms.
Those aren't stay-at-home.
I want
those
my
are
child.
Those are stay-at-home employees.
Exactly. Yes.
Don't
And they're
have
struggling.
time.
Yeah, they're struggling to balance it all. And so I'm here for them where they get to work and I'm with their kid. And it's just a beautiful thing that we're doing right now. But I also know that I want to change up my market. Like Joy mentioned, you know, remember who you're marketing to and don't get, you know, sidetracked by it. And I honestly know that my marketing is going to be strategic in this next school year. I only want stay-at-home moms that value teaching a second language to their 3 to 5 year old.
Their younger student. Yeah, no, if you stay in those, I guess what I would suggest is like, definitely you're already doing it. I would have been shocked if you hadn't already started doing some little research there of surveying your parents, absolutely surveying them, getting the feedback that they're wanting. And like you said, you're trying to get them ready for kindergarten, right? You're trying to get them so that they feel confident going in. But there is, like you said, there might be an opportunity for you to like, what if they're confident in, let's say, speaking English enough to get into school, they're native Spanish speakers. But then there's also that other flip side of people who want their kids to learn Spanish, who are like native English speakers. Like here, one of our schools in our school district is just a dual immersion, I think they call it, or something like that, right? So it's the whole elementary school is set up that way. And some of them haven't been able to do as much with that because of the pandemic and haven't been in the classroom. So, but their parents, sorry. I think Joy has something happening right now, so it might kick us off because it's like, we're supposed to start something. Anyways, but my point is look for those people who are still wanting both sides, because you are offering both. It's bilingual. So you have two markets there of the English native and English speakers that want to learn Spanish and vice versa. But just kind of put into place. I didn't do a summer program. I did it like a couple of times when Joy suggested it, and I took my summers off.
So you just took like a wave off of me, like of stress, because I'm like, do I really have to do this? Like,
no. I mean, I know that's something Joy did, and I bet you if you asked her, she didn't do it right away either. She waited till she needed, mostly I think the time that she did it, if I'm right, is when she got her building and she needed a year-round income. You know, because she before she was in her home and was in the garage for years before she got her schoolhouse, and then she needed to pay for that schoolhouse all year round. And then there was a need to do the summer program. You're in your house; it's not going to change unless you need that to pay your mortgage. You know, unless there's a need to continue to do that, then there's a motivation for you. But if you're like, it's all right, I will be fine. I don't really want to work all summer long. You know, and you need that break it's also good for to rejuvenate yourself and to be able to go step back and think and do the research that you want and think about, where do I want this to go? But if you want to make sure that you're starting September with a classroom full of kids and they know we're going to do they're going to get a little packet that tells them how it's all going to work, and you're going to do all that stuff, then you definitely make sure that before the school year is over, you have enrolled new people, you know, so that's why you have this time of enrollment. We would start enrolling for September. We would start enrolling in February. And that's how everybody in our town did it. And so if we weren't doing it when everyone else did it, then they would have already picked someone else. And so some people are like, whoa, first time parents are like, whoa, I didn't know I had to like decide already. I got like 6 months before they go to school. I'm like, oh, all the spots are gone almost. So, and so that got everybody moving. So we usually let current families get to enroll first before we opened it to the public. And and we didn't give them necessarily a discount, just they got to choose to make sure they got their spot before they were all gone. And then, and after, like, and usually I gave them, like, at first we would give them like a whole month, and later on we're like, no, nobody needs a month to decide what they're doing. 2 weeks is all they got. And then we opened it up to everybody else. So it's kind of setting a routine of that. We start enrolling for the fall at this time, and you start marketing that, and then, you know, have it set in place. Alumni gets first choice. And then we open it to the public after this, you know, and hope the spots don't fill up, or, you know, and that all those things that Joy does with that, you know, scarcity and, you know, to get people to try to hurry and then just get the word out. So it was so nice to not have to market and enroll people all summer long, because if you don't have it set up in the spring for the fall, then that's what you do all summer, is give tours and talk to people and try to get those classes full, right? It was amazing when we finally got to the point that when school ended, I was full for next year.
That's the goal.
And there might have been a couple of people, you know, but it didn't, you know, a couple of things to add at the end, but it wasn't a huge thing. So anyways, I think Joy is trying to call me on the other side and say, get off, I can't get on. So I better go. So
listen to the boss.
Talking to you. I wish you the best of luck. You're going to do awesome.
Thank you.
We'll see you in All Stars.